たいとで読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているエキスしたいとで読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直している
All right. I like that, Carl. I like that energy. That's good. Welcome to 1 Million Cups, everybody. I'm Kate Herzog. I'm going to be your MC today. We've got a great program for you. I want to see, is Lake in here? Is she up there? Okay, sweet. Hi, Lakin. Cool. All right. I get to use the pointer this time. First time using the pointer. So let's get checked in. We have a 1 Million Cups app. If you don't have it on your phone, please download it. You can find it in the Apple Store or the Play Store. It just helps us track who's here. It helps you see who's coming up. And you can, I don't know, maybe message us or something. There's features in the app. It's pretty cool. Want to thank all of our sponsors. They're really the ones that make this happen. It takes a small little army of volunteers to do this, as well as our sponsors to pay for coffee, pay for this space. So I want to thank them. Is anybody here from these sponsor organizations? Raise your hand. Yeah, all right. Thanks, give them a, give it up. Give it up. It's really slow. I don't know what's going on. Okay. What is 1 Million Cups? Do we have any first-timers here? Anybody here for the first time? All right, welcome. 1 Million Cups is a free weekly program where we bring an entrepreneur or a community builder onto the stage. They talk about their successes, their challenges, their journey, and then we pepper them with questions at the end. I told them they could do some medium swearing here today. So, Lake, and I was asking if you were up there because we might need a bleep button, but I gave them the okay to do that. Feels more realistic to me. So really what the big takeaway is, can we change the face of our community by getting together, having coffee, helping one another out, having those conversations? And I think we've seen that in the Bismarck Mandan community over the years that we've been doing this. So like I said, after the presentation, there'll be a robust Q&A. So think of your questions. If you're a little shy and don't want to ask your question, you can use hashtag 1MCND and we'll ask it for you. You can use Twitter. You can comment on the Facebook feed if you're listening in Facebook land or Twitter land, and we will ask it for you. Community announcements. You don't have to have a slide. If you have a community announcement, something you want to tell the community about, please come up, grab the mic. I know I have one. I think I was the only one. No, Lakin's walking slowly towards the front. Okay, I just wanted to mention, and I think we talked about it a little bit, we have just launched our downtown e-gift card, or digital gift card for downtown Bismarck. So you can use this at over 30 places right now, and I think by Christmas time we'll have about 60. And so you can essentially buy someone an e-gift card. It's sent digitally to their phone or to their email, and they can go to the store and they just show it to the shop owner or whatever, and they type it in like a MasterCard. Easy peasy. And then you don't have to know what people like, or they can spend it at a million places. So that's my announcement. We're really super excited about it. I think a great way to get money into local businesses again here in Bismarck. Lakin, did you have a slide? Okay.
Nothing like last-minute additions. Hi, everybody. My name is Lakin Ani. I'm Program Director at the North Dakota Women's Business Center, and I'm really excited to tell you about our next Core Women event. This is for business owners, female professionals, really anybody who's interested in growth, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about this time with Marissa Nielsen. She is a multi-business owner, very successful. She is based in Minot and also Tampa, Florida, and she is delaying her vacation so she can be here with us on September 16th. So we're talking about growth and how to do that both personally and professionally, and she's going to give you tangible takeaways and steps on how to do that. So anyway, ndwbc.com/events to learn more.
All right. Lakin, don't run off. Don't run off. Come here now. Come here. Lakin, we want to say that you did a great job with TEDx this year. Lakin did a great job with TEDx. Lakin, just tell us how it went.
Yeah, TEDx was wildly successful, and I can't take all of the credit. I think I had an incredible team behind me, so thank you to those who lent a hand, whether it was an actual hand, finances, anything like that. If you played a part in TEDx, thank you for helping it become successful. We've heard from several speakers, other stakeholders who came to the event. Some of them have said it's been the highlight of their year. One of them said it has made an impact on his life, and he will carry his experience here in Bismarck with him to the grave. So we're making an impact. Interestingly enough, Jim Enderly, who came to watch Safwan Shah present at 1 Million Cups, is interested in starting a 1 Million Cups chapter in Connecticut. So he may be reaching out to our organizing team for some help in the future to help cultivate the entrepreneurial spirit across the country. So kudos to everybody. I think it's just a testament to the community that we live in, and really proud to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thanks, Lakin. Jim also said he wanted to move here, and him and his wife are going to move here. So, Carl.
Good morning, everybody. Tomorrow we'll be hosting, Gary Tharaldson School of Business will be hosting the Chamber EDC Mixer. We invite you all there. You can register if you want to, but just please come. It'll be great. Showcase some things and just network and have some good times talking with each other. So tomorrow evening, Brent, I can't remember what time, or Ross. There we go. I was going to say, just come the whole afternoon. I'll be there, and we'll be setting up and everything. So just come, but 4:30 to 6:30-ish. So, yeah, so good food and beverage and conversation and great people.
Awesome. No. Oh, yeah.
He's a little shy, so I'm going to do the talking. But again, as usual, we got buried in zucchini. So out there is a basket. On your way out, please give a zucchini or a cucumber or many a good home. And this one I have reserved for Carl. He had eyes on it. This is going into zucchini bread. Oh, wait, I said it in front. He doesn't know that yet. Okay, we're good.
Thanks, Janya. It's delicious. Any other community announcements? You don't have to have a slide. Ross, Ellen, anything you guys want to talk about? All right.
I do have a couple little things. One is that Mandan is having a photography contest, and the deadline is August 31st, so we invite anyone and everyone to submit photos. There are 4 categories. They fall under fun, opportunity, community, and achievement. And we also have special youth category award for the best youth entries. There's $100 Mandan Buck certificates to be awarded in each of these categories. We're going to bring it all together for a social in October to also have a People's Choice selection, and that will be at the Baymont, and if I remember my dates correctly, I think it's October 26th. But the most immediate thing is to get those entries in by August 31st, so we appreciate you sharing the word. And then we're also working on our next downtown tour of spaces and places, and so if you'll mark your calendars for September 28th on that, and we'll have more to come soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. Any other takers? Anybody get brave while the other people were talking? No? Madison? Silence your phone. How dare you? Okay, all right. Well, we will move on. We have, Ross? Were you putting coffee down to say something? Oh. Are you sure? How's Beanbag League going? Yeah. What do you want to talk about? No? Well, we have our Come here. We want to see your beautiful face. I put him on the spot. Give it up.
Nothing like a little bit of pressure to put some things out there. So, twinning almost, right? No. So for the Chamber EDC, we have our, as he mentioned, we have our mixer this Thursday, and then on Friday we have our clay shoot. So if you want a last minute entry, you got to tell me today. But it's a super fun event where we go out to Capital City Sporting Clays and blast clays out of the air and have some food and fun. So that's coming up. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like that. I like the pew pew. Yeah. So I've never done it. It's a great time to try it too, because there's lots of people out there. Not only for those folks who don't know how to do it, there's groups that not only are willing to help, but are coaches for different types of leagues and things too. So they're more than willing to help anybody who wants to try it for the first time. And not only that, but there's a great networking event afterwards. We have a chicken lunch and a couple of ice cold beverages afterwards, so everybody can sit around and kind of do some networking and learn more about each other as well. We don't have to kill the chicken. It comes pre-fried. Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. Give it up for Ross, everybody. Solid. We like Ross. Oh, one more? Oh, yeah, gross. Watch out. Okay, thanks. Ross also runs Bisman Beanbag League, so if you're interested in... Registration starts Friday. Throwing some bags. Ross is your guy. Okay, now we'll get started. Unless anyone else. I'm going for the most community announcements. I can drag some out of people. Does anyone have a birthday coming up? I want the record. So I want to talk about our presenters that are coming up here. We got two amazing ladies that have an event space in Mandan. We're just talking, Michelle has been a solid foundation at 1 Million Cups. I remember seeing you at 1 Million Cups before we were at Dakota Stage. We were at the old UND Family Medicine when we kind of first started. Michelle has had a lot of successful businesses within Bismarck and Mandan. Kirsten, and it's Kirsten, okay? If anyone says Kirsten, you're cleaning up afterwards here, okay? You're doing all the sweeping and stuff. Kirsten also, she's a firecracker. We've known each other a little bit in downtown. That's accurate, I would say, yeah. And these two have teamed up on Venue 25, so I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they've got going on in Mandan. Give it up for these ladies.
Hi. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Okay, my name's Michelle.
I'm Kirsten.
And we started this venture, we closed on our business in February, so it's very new. We're kind of just getting into our big first wedding season here, and so we're excited to tell you guys a little bit about what we've been doing. So there's 4 of us involved in this project. Myself, my husband, Steve, Kaufman, Kirsten, and Jake. And we kind of all came together in a way where Kirsten was helping me with the paddle trap last summer and kind of mentioned off the cuff, if you ever do another project like this, you should ask me to do it with you. And I don't know if she was expecting me to ask her like 3 months later.
I don't even think it was 3 months, was it?
Probably not. But we had this, I had this idea of turning this old restaurant into an event space, and because she had said it, I said, want to do that? And she's like, yeah.
And she literally said, hey, you want to, actually, I was walking out of her office one day, and she said, I was going up the step out of her office, and she's like, hey. And I said, what? She's like, you want to buy a wedding venue? And I said, yeah. and that was it.
That's about the story there. Yeah. It needed a little bit of work, so I'll show you some pictures of some of the things that we did. Our significant others are amazing at putting in a lot of long, hard, sweaty hours, busting some stuff out and making it pretty. And so that was their job. And then we worked on kind of putting the business together. And the reason I knew I needed another wedding venue, I own 1603 Events, and with the surge in weddings that happened after kind of the first COVID delayment, I was getting calls every day from people wanting to book a wedding, and I didn't have a date to sell them. And when you have a customer calling you and you don't have a product to sell them, you need to make more product, right? So it was a really easy thing to say, we need another wedding venue. Where are we going to do it? How fast can we get it open? So that was kind of the catalyst for starting things. So we started construction on February 1st. We had our first event on May 22nd. And so far have booked 59 events through 2022, just in the last few short months.
60.
60. Kirsten's a booking agent, so
it's up to 60 as of yesterday.
She is on it. So our building was formerly Robbie's Supper Club. If you've eaten out there, Robbie had an awesome little steakhouse. It was there for 36 years, and he's a great guy. A lot of people were pretty upset when he closed. Some of them turned their anger on us about it. But Robbie is in his 70s and wanted to retire, and so he had put it up for sale quite a bit of time before we even kind of started to look at it. And his family had owned this property for a long time and had leased it to the school district. It was the Square Butte School for a long time.
Right, Dawn?
I had to look at her just to be sure. And the deal was that if the school ever decided to close or not become a school anymore, Robbie's family could buy the property back for $1. And so that had happened somewhere around 36 years ago. And since he had the property and his farm was right next door, he decided to open it as a restaurant. And I believe always kind of had some limited hours. It was just kind of a fun side project for him on top of ranching. He was there every minute, every day, and the community really got to know him well and knows the space well. So, I can't see it. Okay, yeah, this is kind of awkward. Yeah. Okay, so some of the things that it features is we have 6 acres of outdoor space. One thing we wanted, most of the wedding venues in the area are essentially indoor space or outdoor space, and there's very little that's really transitional to an indoor-outdoor space. Certainly you can bump back and forth at some different locations, but we really liked the appeal of it being a transitional indoor-outdoor space. So we've got a large lawn surrounded by rows of mature trees, lots of additional parking in fields around the property. Our main event space has room inside for 250 guests. It's a bit of a squeeze, but we make it work. 2 double restrooms, a full kitchen, cold storage and office, a large bar, and 2 stone fireplaces. Our stone fireplaces are actually made out of the rocks that Robbie found in his fields when he was trying to get them out of the way, as well as the rock on the exterior of the building, which is pretty neat. And then there's an outdoor pavilion that features 2 more restrooms, space for 200 more guests inside, and then 2 large overhead doors. So that was kind of the big appeal, was that we could open these huge garage doors and we have this large covered space that feeds into the outdoor space really nicely. A lot of brides want an outdoor space. Like, they love the idea of the photos and the light and the fall colors or the spring trees, but everybody is also terrified about North Dakota weather. So having that little bit of a safety net for them, we can plan an outdoor wedding, and if it doesn't work out, we have this great indoor-outdoor option, is really appealing. A courtyard that features a large concrete patio, again, a large covered awning landscaping, outdoor fire pits, and then a bar that opens up into the outdoor pavilion and then also to the outside. And then really we're just 5 minutes from Mandan, especially like that frontage road from our place to the Baymont, the Comfort Suites, Blackstone Inn is really only a 5-minute drive. And so I think at first people think, oh, it's really out of town, and then as soon as you actually drive it, it's actually super close to everything.
I get a lot of comments from brides when we're doing tours about they always come early, and it's because they're like, oh, I didn't know it was this close. But it's all interstate, so it's very quick.
These are original concept drawings. These are the ones we took to the bank in the city to try to get all this approved. And I would say it turned out almost just like this, minus the white picket fence. That didn't quite fit in with what we were doing with our modern look there. So, oh, I didn't realize that picture was sideways. So the pavilion before was basically just a garage. Robbie had built it for storage. He had a bunch of stuff in there. And then once in a while, he would do barbecues and, you know, some larger company things out there. And so really all we had to do there was brighten up the paint a little bit, clean up the floor, and then change out the ceiling fans to something a little bit more modern and clean. And then you can see the bar up there originally. You know, there's just kind of a little bit of a dated look, so we updated it just a little bit. But this was a really fast, easy, quick turnaround to make it feel really fresh and new. And we had that was our first big wedding. They decided to do their dinner in the pavilion and do kind of the indoor-outdoor thing. So that's kind of our first head table set up over in that building.
Oh, that's going to happen.
How did that happen? I swear they were straight when I did it. So the bathrooms look just like 40-year-old schoolhouse bathrooms. They had the little tiles on the floors and then the big ceramic tiles on the walls.
It was a locker room.
A locker room, yeah. And lots of big, like, glass block windows in the ladies' room. And we liked that feel and that look. It's just some of the grout and some of the things were getting a little wonky after all that time. So we kept all of the big white tiles on the walls, the glass block in the windows, so it kind of still has that feeling. But then we updated it with some bright paint and modern colors and some new lighting. But we kept the boys and girls signs above the bathrooms that were there when we got there. The courtyard, a lot of the building kind of just blended into the landscape originally. And so, you know, it was just a lot of, you know, kind of your basic brick color on, you know, basic concrete with the copper roof. And so none of it really stood out, especially when all the grass is brown around it in the spring and fall. And so we wanted just to add some pop of color and some more lighting. So we just redid the landscaping and the planters that were already there. We painted the brick blue so that the copper roof really pops and it kind of stands out a little bit more. And then added a whole bunch of string lights because everyone at a wedding likes a bunch of string lights. The deck, we had a beautiful large deck that was already there. It had, again, kind of a dated railing and some dated lighting, and so we took the railing off, added a little bit more modern look of a railing that you could see through, which makes it feel a lot bigger and also creates some better visuals for wedding type events, and then hung some string lights over it. Yeah, good. Getting it. The foyer was probably the biggest change. Again, when Robbie had kind of redone it into the restaurant, he added some things that were a little dated for now, that were probably very modern at the time, but the big glass mirrors and the tile and some of the colors and things, we took all of that out and really just brightened it up with some white paint and some modern looking doors and lighting. We also redid the flooring in the entire place. It was kind of a mix of ceramic tile and carpet, and so we took all of that out and added a more modern wood floor. So these are all the interior before photos if you were never out at Robbie's to eat. It basically hadn't changed in a really long time, which I think is one of the things people loved about it. It was always very familiar. But really when we walked in and looked around, we realized that with some flooring and some paint and some lighting, we could really do a lot with very little. And the whole ceiling was wood, and beautiful wood, but it had these beautiful beams that didn't stand out because they were up against wood that was also the same color. And so we really wanted to accent those. So when we did our paint job, we did some white in between the beams to really make them pop. We also really wanted to open it up. So there were 4 archways that separated the bar from the dining rooms, and then there were 2 separate dining rooms. So we broke out the interior wall that separated the 2 dining rooms from each other. There was a lot of furnaces, water heater, HVAC stuff in there that we put actually up on the roof, under the roof in the ceiling, to get that out of the way. And then broke out 2 archways and made one big one on each side. So now we have 3 openings that are much larger and a lot more expansive than what was there before. So these are some of the after photos. You can see we just added a lot of white paint to make it bright and feel larger, updated lighting, painted parts of the ceiling to accent the wood. Of course, we left the stone fireplaces the way they were because they were cool and they stand out better this way. This is the first wedding that we did, not the first, maybe the 3rd wedding that we did, where the head table is inside. This was August, so it was really hot, so they didn't want to eat outside. And we had 250 people inside at that wedding. And it was tight, but it worked really well. So now we know we can do that. And we left the bar as is, again, just painting around it, made it look a little bit more modern, updated, and really made it stand out as opposed to being up against a wooden wall. I can't really even tell what was going on over there. It's a little messed up. So we did just a few things to the exterior. The windows were boarded up with plywood when we got there. He wanted more of a dark, cozy look. We wanted a lot of light, so we reopened the windows. Planted some trees, which some survived, most did not. It was really dry and couldn't keep enough water on them out there this year, so we'll try that again. Added some outdoor fire pits, and then there's a photo of one of our outdoor ceremonies in the lawn. So I would say we'd love your questions, and one of the questions on the email was, what are some challenges that you're facing? And I would say everything's been going extremely well. We're still, of course, very new, but we're all still, kind of falling into what our roles are in this business. But we're all still getting along and enjoying it and having a ton of fun. And I think that's kind of the biggest hurdle when you're starting out, is figuring out kind of who's going to do what and how it's going to work. And then, we're, of course, like every hospitality business, just hoping that we can continue rolling with events and that things don't snowball like they did last year with event closures and people getting scared about having weddings again and postponing dates. We survived that once at 1603. I know we can do it again. It was certainly unpleasant, but we made it through. And I'm confident that we would as well, but being very new, we have a little bit shorter runway than we would like to if that were to happen again. So, questions?
Carl and his beard will be the mic runner today. Can you hand me that? Was that the bleep button? We got to work on that. Okay. So if you have questions, please raise your hand and Carl will find you with the mic. Or if you want to ask your question on social media, use hashtag 1MCND and we will ask it for you. So I think we've already got one. Ellen.
So Michelle and Kirsten, thank you for undertaking this endeavor that's near and dear to my heart. I live just 3 miles from it on my what was part of my parents' farm and ranch, so have experienced this as a rural school and steakhouse, and I'm now anxiously awaiting to be invited to a wedding there. But meanwhile, for those of us that aren't invited to a wedding there or part of one, can we look forward to you hosting any of your own events, such as what you've done at 1603?
Yes. We've been extremely busy, and like Michelle said, just working out our roles and getting our groove down, but we do plan on doing community events. None are scheduled at this point, but very soon.
We're really talking through a lot of different ideas. We've hosted a few fundraisers so far. I anticipate the request for that being even greater as more people find out that we're there, and those are always a really good time. But we'd love to do some like large live music and large entertainment events in that field outside and kind of utilizing that indoor-outdoor space for those types of things.
Ellen, are you asking because when we had Mandan Rodeo here, we're talking about that Mr. Rodeo contest with
Oh, we would host that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Probably get a discount. All right, sweet. Any other questions? Throw your hands up. Ladies, I wanted to ask, how has it been, anybody in hospitality right now is struggling with staffing. How has that been for you guys, and how are you sort of working through that challenge?
So I'm not going to say it's been easy, but we've been very, very fortunate. I swore off the restaurant and hospitality business 7 years ago, and here I am. But so I've reached out to a lot of those people that I used to work with and used to work for me, and I've got some really good ones that have agreed. A lot of them are out of it now themselves, but it's kind of a side gig, some extra cash kind of thing. And then a lot of my friends have been recruited, and we're always looking for more help. But the good thing about it is that it's scheduled out. So I can staff people well in advance, and they can make plans around it. So we don't have to we're not there every day. So we don't have to have the steady staff that Michelle does at another one of her businesses. So that makes it a little bit easier. So far, so good.
And if you are married to, or you have someone in your family who is a small business owner, you will A, work at that business, or if you're a nonprofit, B, you will be helping them. So just know that if you're getting into that family or something, you're going to be recruited. Dawn.
I, like Ellen, have a real connection to the school because I was a school bus route. We lived a little bit farther away. But anyway, I was super excited to hear that you guys were the ones that were taking on this endeavor because I knew you'd make it fabulous. Anyhow, so can you talk a little bit about how you do meal service there? I know you just talked about bringing on staff, but how do you cook and serve and that type of thing?
So we're kind of doing it event by event at this point because we aren't steady enough to have regular staffing. So every event we look at, what the couple wants, what they need, and then we figure out how we're going to put it all together with some of the other resources that we have. Jake has been awesome about cooking things and working in the kitchen and putting them together. And we've catered or grabbed food from 1603 and had Grego make it and then haul it out. We've had stuff made at the paddle trap and put together and haul it out. So our last big wedding, they had hors d'oeuvres, dinner, and late night pizza and french fries. And so my husband's in his old minivan driving from 1603 to the paddle trap, back out to 25, to 1603 to the paddle trap, back out to 25. And then Jake's in the kitchen, making sure everything's like hot and ready to go. So kind of event by event, we're making it work really well. I think it's gone great. And then we hope as we get more consistent and more steady, we can start to actually staff and do more in-house.
And another thing that makes us unique on that aspect is that we do allow outside catering as well. So as long as it's from a licensed commercial kitchen, people can bring in their own food or have an outside caterer.
Yeah, we have a wedding coming up where they're doing a food truck and an ice cream truck and just parking it out in the yard and giving their guests all tickets to buy their meals. So there's a lot of more fun, creative options that we can do there too.
Nice. And Michelle mentioned Paddle Trap. She's also one of the owners at Paddle Trap as well. So, Evan.
You'd mentioned some trouble with your new trees. How have you been able to maintain those outdoor spaces in the drought that we're having right now?
Well, the grass isn't growing really quickly, so that helps. We have been sporadically watering. It just seemed to it was hanging in there, but it just seemed over the last, we were actually on a trip in Georgia and we came home to like everything brown. And so we were watering. We've been watering a little bit. We obviously water our planters. The trees that are established there are doing very well. Ours that we planted, as Michelle said, not so much. But we water a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kirsten and Jake are out there a lot.
Yes.
With mowers and watering and doing a lot of outdoor landscaping stuff.
And it takes, on a riding lawnmower with the whole property, it takes Jake about 7 to 8 hours. Because we have to mow, we own everything up to the frontage road, and that's our overflow parking area. So we have to mow that as well, and it's very rough. And so you can't go at high speed over there. So yeah, he's on the lawnmower a lot. So he has a tan, I don't.
Yeah, again, if you have a question, raise your hand, or if you want to ask it through Twitter or Facebook, hashtag 1MCND. Do you have a question, or was that give me your questions? Okay, I don't know. I don't know the hand signals. Okay, great. Janya has a question up front.
So then, do you have like packages? How do you handle the relationship? Is it like every event is really unique and they need to come in and kind of chat with you and then put the pricing together, or could I go out to the website and kind of pick and choose kinds of things? If you could just speak to that a little bit.
Go ahead. Oh. So we do have packages as far as decor, but every setup is unique because when they rent our property, they actually can utilize both buildings. We never do 2 events at one time. So they can utilize both buildings as they want and the outdoor space. So each one is very unique in regards to the setup. Whether or not we are catering, the decor packages that we offer are also optional. So yes, it's very customized. When they have an outside decor person and outside catering, we basically just become the walls. So then they handle everything else. But when we do the whole package, we do up to 3 meetings in preparation. There's a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages. We're watching the weather because we are outdoor and a lot of people are really wanting that outdoor ceremony. So we're watching the weather up until, the day before, preparing ourselves that we might have to go out there and rearrange everything. And so, yeah, everything is customized.
I have National Weather Service guys on. These guys make fun of me at Street Fair. I'm like, Mike, what are we doing? What am I seeing in 3 hours here? And they're like, Kate, stop calling. It's been the same as it has been.
We'll text you.
Yeah, exactly. We'll call you.
So you have 60 weddings that are on the books, right?
We have 60 events.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. What other events have you booked already, and how are you marketing for corporate events, that type of thing?
So we are not marketing for corporate events at the moment. They are just kind of happening organically. We've had, like Michelle said, couple fundraisers. We've had people do some private parties, just small get-togethers during the week. We've had a realty company do their industry appreciation sort of thing there. and then they rebooked for the following year already, or for the next year already. What else have we done? Oh, graduations. Graduations we did this year. Next year, it's not looking as good for graduations because we're so booked up for weddings. However, a Sunday graduation, a Wednesday graduation, that apparently happens now. And so we do have room for that as well. One of our goals is to get, we've also done, a local company in Mandan did an off-site retreat there where they brought their area managers in just to get away from the building. So we had a couple managers from, or 18 to 20 managers locally, and then they brought people in from across the state. They used our pavilion, they opened up the garage doors, they did their brainstorming session, and then they'd come out and enjoy the view. They just wanted something away from the office and away from the distractions, so we provided all the food and breaks and things like that. My goal is to book more of those weekday events. Christmas parties coming up. We're putting together some packages to make it easy for the company owners where they can just say, this is what I want, let's do it. What else?
Yeah, I think that kind of covers it. As far as marketing, so far we haven't had to do any. I mean, we threw up a Facebook page, but then we have a rental space at the Paddle Trap that's pretty well rented out most of the time. So between people calling, asking to rent that, and people calling to ask 1603 and us being full, we can say, I don't have space for you here, but have you heard about this other space that we have available? And then Kirsten's contacts in the community, between some of her other endeavors, have led to a lot of people just, hearing and knowing who to talk to. So we've been pretty busy running just with that so far.
Which is awesome.
And the bridal shows too.
And the what?
We've had very successful bridal shows. We've been to 2 so far, and they really helped give us that initial kick.
We have a question from social media.
Yes, Nick on Facebook asks, what is the average cost for a wedding?
I knew that was going to come.
It varies so much.
It does. It varies so much. And just because of the catering, the decor, that's all optional. But I guess for pricing, our facility rental is $3,000. So that gets you tables set up and chairs and linens, and cleanup as well. So then you can add on the packages. We do have a $1,000 bar minimum. So, I mean, if you're going just the basic, you could probably do it for under $5.
Yeah, we've had some smaller weddings that have kept it really budget. We had a wedding cater in their food from the rice bowl and, do their own decorating. And then, it was maybe like 100 some people. So their bar tab wasn't large, and you can just do a cash bar and make everyone pay for their own items. So you can do it budget, but still do it really nice and really pretty if you want to. Or you can go all out and go all inclusive. With our kind of more all inclusive setup, we do all of the decor for you. Like those photos that you saw was all our own decor stuff. All of the flowers for you. Set up and tear down all of that. Fully staffed bars in both buildings, and then everything outside as far as ceremony setups, ceremony backdrops. We can really do everything so that you just have to show up with your dress and your friends. And that gets a little bit more expensive, obviously, but we have that for the people that want to go big and don't want to do all the work, and then we can do a lot more DIY options there too.
Evan.
With your venue, your acoustics, your AV, that kind of thing, would something more seminar-ish be appropriate in that space, do you think?
Yes. So we've put a new sound system in, and in our main building, that could very easily happen. Mm-hmm.
If you have a question too, Carl will find you. I just want you guys to count, and you might need both hands. How many businesses are you currently involved in, each of you?
I'm only involved in 2.
Only, okay. Michelle, thinking. I know, you're using your toes too, right?
No, I think this makes 5.
5. How many kids do you have?
2.
How many kids
One.
do you have? All right.
Yeah.
So the number of jobs and kids is just a relative correlation there. A little bit? Okay.
Yeah, it's not easy,
Yeah.
but
No, it's wild. But there's, partners everywhere too. Kirsten and I partnering on this, like I never would have done this by myself. So, I mean, just when it came up like, oh, we need a venue, my second thought was, and I need a partner because I can't do this by myself. And she's doing the brunt of the meetings with clients, booking events, all that kind of stuff because I am already a little bit too time constricted on those kinds of things. At 1603, I've had that staff for 6 years, and they know every bit of what they're doing, so that's all very well delegated. And then at the Paddle Trap, I have partners as well, so that's the only way that it works. And then Britt and I have our little gift company business just blew up in the spring out of nowhere. We've had it for 6 years, and so that was super fun. But she's been doing the bulk of all of that as well because I got busy with this. So that's how it works. Find good partners.
We're going to blow that $1,000 bar tab out of the water with Mr. Rodeo event, right? Get us on the calendar, okay? Lakin, find those rodeo guys again. We need them. Okay, thanks.
I'll be the business geek asking a question here. What kind of organizational structure do you have? Is it a partnership, LLC, S Corp? What did you guys decide to go with and why?
We did an S Corp, and I guess we'll see, after our first year or two if that was the wisest choice. I did that because that seemed to be what worked the best at our other businesses with partnerships. Because some of us work in the business and take a salary, and then some of us don't. And so that seemed to be the most fair way to compensate people for their time, plus still make ownership worthwhile in a draw and make it more suitable for tax purposes. And so that's worked really well in our other ventures. And then I guess we'll just kind of see how this one, shakes out at the end of the year with the books. But I do all the bookkeeping for all of the businesses myself. That's kind of my forte. I spend a lot of nights, late nights, staring at my computer on QuickBooks, but that's really, in my opinion, if you own your own business, somebody inside the business that has an ownership stake, I think should be doing that type of thing to make sure that you can see exactly where things are going in every single minute.
I make Dawn do QuickBooks at the Downtowners. I'm not good at that, but Shania.
All right, so this probably didn't scare you because you have other venues where you serve alcohol, but I think for some of us small business owners, insurance is always a terrifying topic.
Yeah.
So I would love to know what does insurance look like for a space like this where you have so many people on site and you have alcohol, either that you provided or that they provided?
It's incredibly expensive.
incredibly expensive.
I would say my total liquor liability insurance bill is somewhere in the $30,000 to $40,000 range for a year. But I have a mobile bar business as well, so that's part of that too, because we go off-site. But really, we max out all the limits on everything all the time. I think we have 2 or 3 different umbrella policies. I've been in situations before that didn't turn out so pleasant where alcohol was involved, and so we really max out every single thing that's available to us as far as trying to protect ourselves. But I think that the nice thing in an event business is that we have a signed contract with the host. So it's not like somebody just coming to a restaurant and doing something stupid. Like, there's actually like a host involved with a signed contract that says that they are responsible for every single guest that they bring to our property, and that ultimately the liability falls back on them for inviting that person or not being able to handle their guests at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And then we also require event insurance. So the host has to purchase their own event insurance policy and provide us with that as well on top of it. So that's kind of a little bit of an extra fallback. And then we always make sure we have professional security hired because their liability insurance also kind of piggybacks on that. So we've tried to make sure we're covered from every single corner, although, of course, things can still happen.
Kayla's looking nervous, like, am I going to get invited to another wedding out at, now that they got a vouch for me, she looked really nervous.
And also, we do not allow outside alcohol, so anything on the property has to be poured by our people. So we're able to see how much they're drinking, and if they're sneaking it in the parking lot, then that's what security is for.
How does that work? And I know there's only questions from the front row here. You can ask questions if you're in the other rows also. How do you deal with red eye? That's a wedding tradition. I'm sure a lot of people are trying to sneak it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say sneaking it so much. They'll straight up ask if they can bring it, or just assume that they're allowed to because it's North Dakota. And why couldn't you bring your own homemade liquor?
Why can't I just bring my homemade liquor?
At 1603, we charge $150 corking fee for any bottle of liquor brought into the premises, and has to be poured and served by our bartenders. And so that applies to red eye. That price point usually says it's not worth it, and we'll tell them just to save it for the rehearsal dinner, or the bachelor party or something like that. But if you're sneaking it out, and we have a $500 security deposit from our host, and so if anybody is violating the rules, we keep that, and that's usually enough of an incentive for them to keep their guests in line as well.
Kirsten, are you out in the parking lot just kicking doors down, give me that red eye?
I did that once.
I believe it. I said she was a firecracker, and then she looked at me funny, and now she's doing that.
Yeah.
She's doing that. Okay, Dawn.
All right. So since you guys have all been, or you two have been super successful in pretty much everything you touch, so how many other people are saying, hey, I know something, you want to buy this? What's next for you guys? You're going to, that type of thing?
I only get that really rarely, actually, where people call and ask if I want to buy something, and it's usually something that's been for sale for 5 years that they couldn't get rid of. So that doesn't
Let's
happen
give it
very
to
often.
Michelle. Michelle buys everything.
I don't know what's next, but I could see us doing something else. Again, we might want to give our hubbies a break, though.
A tiny break.
I know mine's got a to-do list 8 miles long at every single venue, and our house and all that kind of stuff that he would love some time to get caught up on. But not in the works, but
I personally have something in the works. Yes.
You'll have to come back and tell us about it at 1 Million Cups.
Yeah.
We're excited. Don't make her say her secrets, Dawn. Kayla, what's
Is that me? Am I magnetic?
you might have a plate in your head
Okay.
or something. Okay,
I'm
I'll turn
getting
this off.
front row pressure. The red eye got me thinking, weirdest thing you've seen at a wedding, whether it's a theme or a speech.
So we've been very fortunate at Venue 25. Our brides have been the best. We haven't had any, they've been so good. So I don't have a story from there yet, but I bet Michelle has one from 1603.
I'm like, where do I start? We did have someone ask if they could have their cows be their, Flower Girl and Ring Bear. They're mini cows, but we're still in town. They wanted to do a cute little floral pen in the parking lot for people to pet them on their way in and out. And I thought it was actually really cute. I didn't say no. I just said you might have to call the city about that because we do serve food in here. And so I let them be the ones to decide.
But at Venue 25, I would say yes to both of those.
Yeah. Honestly, the weirdest things that we've seen at weddings is just, again, around North Dakota weddings. I think that they are the rowdiest weddings that probably exist in the United States. Everybody goes completely wild. We have these huge steel planters in front of our building blocking the parking lot from Main Street that have been pushed into Main Street multiple times. And it's how do you do that and not have so much damage to your car? Our parking signs are always sideways. We've had people sleeping in super random corners of the building. Our building is so big that we had to lock a gate to the upstairs, which is completely an unusable, non-lit, gross, dirty space, because we had a couple go up there, fall asleep, wake up at 4 in the morning, and leave, and it set off the motion alarms. So the cops came, and nobody knew that they had snuck up there and fallen asleep.
Geez, Caroline, that's embarrassing for you. I'm embarrassed for you. And Brent, I'm embarrassed.
So, yeah, I mean, men stumbling into the ladies' room and falling asleep in a bathroom stall and stuff like that. It's always a fun adventure.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're a part
That's
of.
where the insurance, she was talking about insurance, right?
Yeah, because we have a couch in there, it seems like a cozy place.
That's practically an invitation to take a nap if you're going to put a couch somewhere.
We're a part of some national Facebook groups for wedding vendor owners, and a lot of other states I'm learning, they do package deals where you charge per person and it includes the alcohol. And I don't think that would ever happen in North Dakota. We could never do that. And then there's a lot of other wedding venues that are dry, so there's no alcohol at all, and people are good with it.
That would never. We've had one dry wedding in 6 years. That would just never work here.
Question in the far back there.
I was just wondering if you guys had like bride and groom spaces at your venue.
Yes, so we don't have a groom space, and we are in the process of converting our office that we have now into a bridal suite. It'll have to be a dual kind of thing. But remember, when you rent our property, you get both buildings. So we always can close off one building for the bride and groom to get ready, and then we do have a storage area for them to keep their things. So, you know, if people are coming in or the ceremony's outside, we can block off either of the building bathrooms. And then if the building, you know, if on the reverse, if their ceremony's inside, they can have full access of the other building that the ceremony's not in, just to give them that prep time. Most people will get ready off-site and just do their, you know, touch-ups on-site.
We have a lot of ideas, too, on ways we want to enhance the property as we go forward. So lots of ideas on, you know, outdoor gazebos or more outdoor buildings, or, you know, maybe some cool, like, little tiny house cabins down the road for people to stay in if they're in the bridal party. Activities for kids that are built in, you know, to the building and outside. So lots of fun things that we can keep kind of rolling with as we have time.
Does Lyft and Uber go out that far? Do you know?
They do.
They do. Okay. Good deal.
We're also considering adding a shuttle service of our own down the road, too.
We're in the market for a shuttle.
Space shuttle.
15 passengers or less.
Okay. Yeah. Sweet. So anybody got a shuttle out there? Yeah. Oh, okay. We're so close. Is that Scott out there with a mustache? Is that you? Okay. You look like you'd sell maybe a used van or something. I could see that. Okay. I like the stash though, Scott. Carl, you being the mic runner get to ask our same last question. We always ask the same last question at 1 Million Cups to our guests. Carl, take it away.
So what can we as the 1 Million Cups community do to help you with your success?
I think the same old answer, boring answer of just getting the word out. Start thinking of us when you're planning your company parties. When you know someone who wants a little side gig every once in a while. What else?
Yeah, I think just helping spread the word. If you hear a discussion happening about, you know, oh, we're getting married, or oh, we're planning a Christmas party, be like, oh, have you heard about that new place? You should check out their website. You know, just kind of the little bits of tidbit. And then, I mean, just now all of you knowing, you know, kind of what we are and what we're about helps too. There's always so much misinformation being spread around town about what everybody's up to in different spots, because everyone thinks that they know. So,
yeah, I had 2 brides actually contact me yesterday in a panic because their decorator told them that we don't allow outside decorating. So there's always, you know, things like that.
It's constant.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just misinformation being spoken as truth. So.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I'm going to add one other thing for you guys, if you're going to bring that guy to your wedding, just think twice, okay? You know, it's a lot of work for these guys.
Yeah.
And insurance, apparently. So
we'll laugh at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then we'll have
the
to
end it gets
remove
scary.
him.
And
yeah.
then it costs you a lot of money.
Okay.
Every time
yeah.
I say you lost your security deposit because someone punched a hole through my wall, and they're like, oh, I knew exactly who that was.
Brent. Okay, sweet. Well, give it up for these ladies. We've got an awesome couple of weeks coming up as well. We're going to have the Bizman Writers Guild here next week, so stop by. And then, speaking of insurance and things like that, we're going to have Bismarck Distillery here. So we've got a couple new distilleries opening in town, and they're going to talk about, very early on in the process, we're going to talk about moonshine and distilling here in Bismarck. So that's going to be September 1st. If you want to apply, or you know somebody who you think would be good on stage, have them go to 1 Million Cups. and apply to present 1millioncups.com/bizman. We'd love to see you guys up here talking about your weird friends that punch holes in walls or whatever. You know, you never know what's going to happen here at 1 Million Cups. So again, give it up for these ladies, and we will see you next Wednesday.